Okay, let's talk about GameObjects, components, and C# scripts. What we have here. We have an avatar, and I also create another cube. And the avatar, for instance, has all of these components inside, right? The transform, can collapse it by clicking on title or on this triangle thing. I guess it's easier to do it this way. So the transform, the mesh filter, the mesh renderer, the boss collider, and the rotate script that I wrote myself, they are all C# scripts that are classes that derive from MonoBehaviour. And because they derive from MonoBehaviour, they can be used as components, so I can literally take it and drag and drop it onto an object. And it will, when I do that, then it appears, like here, rotate. Now, everything that is, every line, every object that is in the hierarchy is a game object. That's how in Unity, objects that are in the game world are called. And that also explains why every game object has a transform. Because a game object is inside the game world, so it has to have a position, a rotation, and a scale. Zoom in, zoom out, stop, right? Expand or contract. Inside the game world. If it didn't have a position, it couldn't be in there. There wouldn't be any meaningful sense that the game object is part of the game world, right? And that's why, for instance, some components, if I look at them, see everyone has this menu, the hamburger menu, right? Some of these components, I can remove them. But the transform, I can't. There is no such a thing. That's because every game object is transform mandatory. Just to take home the point, if I go in the hierarchy and right click and say create empty, sure, I can create an empty game object, but guess what? It has a transform no matter what. Okay, so enough said, now we can delete it. Let's go back to our avatar. So what about all of these components? I didn't write them, right? Box collider, mesh renderer, I didn't write those. That's because they have been written by the Unity engineers. They are still C# script classes that derive from MonoBehaviour, but we didn't have to write them. I didn't have to write them, you don't have to write them. They are already part of the game engine. That's why we use game engines, because we want to avoid rewriting a lot of boilerplate code. If we would have to essentially reinvent every time. It's already there, so we save a lot of time. But of course, sometimes we need to add our own feature, right? Otherwise, the game doesn't really do what we want. So for instance, in this case, we want the avatar to spin and the other gray cube also to spin. And I want the avatar to spin with speed 1 and the gray cube with speed 2, alright? So I say 1 for the speed, rotation speed for 1 and 2, even though it is the same script, right? It's called rotate. So now if I look into rotate and I open the Visual Studio and I see what this is about. So in the update function, that is a well-known function that Unity calls just before every frame, I'm saying rotate vertically by this amount. And there is a public float that is this amount, and because it's public, it appears in Unity. Okay. So when I click on the avatar, see there is this rotation speed thing, and because I drag and drop it, the rotate script also on the cube, also here on the cube, on the gray cube is there. Notice though that the values can be different. Even though it is the same script, drag and drop onto both, I can give rotation speed 2 for the gray cube and 1 for the blue cube, the avatar, right? Now when I press play, as soon as it's done, see, they rotate both, and one is, I can make it even faster, I can say 5, and now this is really, really fast, and the other is still 1. It's fine. Now when I press stop, it goes back to its original value 2, and that's fine. So we have learned that everything that is in the hierarchy or the scene is a game object. The game objects have components. Most of them are already made by Unity, we just have to use them. Some, of course, we want to make our own games, so we can create our own scripts. As long as they derive from MonoBehaviour, they're fine. Let's remember one thing, that the name of the file C# script has to be the same name, so see rotate with a capital R, has to be the same as the name of the class. If the two were different, it would compile, but then it would create problems and it wouldn't work. So hopefully this was clear enough. It's a short introduction to GameObjects, components, and script. We will get deeper into it, in particular when we study each component can have well-known functions like update, start, awake, and so on. And we'll learn those things. For now, this is enough. Thank you.